Hey everybody, it's your girl Pajama with Pajama Life. And today we have some really good, highly anticipated, at least for me, series. So let me get my two partners in crime here. Bang! My brothers, David, the guru of all things Star Wars. Say hey to the people.
Hey, everybody. Great to be with you on a blistery cold night. It's a perfect night, at least on the East Coast in our nation's capital, to stay inside and talk about these fun shows. Glad you're with us. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. And the professor of all things Marvel. That guy there. Say hey to the people, Patrick.
Hey everybody, a lot of good stuff. Some of it, we'll talk about it.
So today we have the new series Mayfair Witches, based on the Anne Rice novels. The second season of Hunters. It's back. Also based on a graphic novel, as well as the solo episode of Crosshair and the Bad Batch. So let's start with Mayfair Witches. Ooh.
She needs to know who she is, if only to protect herself.
I promised you once that your life would change. That change is coming, my love.
It's just hard to believe this is my patient. I mean, the file is so thick, I assume she was elderly.
She's 47.
Father, please. I have to get out of here. Behave like a Mayfair.
Something's happening.
He's coming. Keep going. For the first time in my life, I know who I am.
Okay. Pat, you've read the novels. What do you think of this adaptation
Well,
of Mayfair Witches?
I will tell you that it's probably the weakest Anne Rice series that she wrote. So I was not expecting much, and it kind of delivered. I mean, I was not super impressed with it. I mean, I wanted to, I read the books probably in the 90s, and it's been a while, but I just didn't. It didn't really blow my skirt up back then. I wasn't expecting a ton out of this, so it met my expectations because it was not that interesting of a story, and I'm sure that it really helps the producers and stuff when Anne Rice is dead now, so she can't actually put her stamp on this stuff, which is what they did with the Interview with the Vampire, which was they took liberties, which is fine. I understood that.
Yeah.
I think some of the choices they made were pretty good there. This stuff was okay. It just, Anne Rice had a really interesting cosmological view of the way the supernatural worked, and she really did some interesting things with the way she kind of took things out of the status quo of how a vampire does, how witches do, how mummies do. I mean, there were some interesting things that she did, but they all have a kind of a theme running through them. And this was similar to that, but we'll see. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was. AMC does really good stuff. I will say that they can take something that's not arguably the best source material and turn it into something fairly decent. And this was okay. It just wasn't what I wanted, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. David, what did you think?
I had not read the novels, not a huge Anne Rice fan per se. So from my perspective, I found this entertaining. I kind of, I like the cast. I think Alexandra Daddario. Really enjoy seeing her in things. So this was a lot of fun. I think this is the first of two things that we're going to be talking about tonight that have a little bit of a nod to the Percy Jackson series with this. So I think that was kind of a funny, ironic twist here, because those are two movies that we really would want to talk about a lot, I'm sure. But no, this was good. I think this is a fun show. Annabeth Gish is a wonderful actress. you don't see a lot of as much right now, but a really
Which one
talented
was
woman.
she?
She played the old lady.
Oh, that's Annabelle Gish. Oh,
Yes.
wow. I remember her from what, the 90s, I think she was big back
Mystic
then.
Pizza, Shag.
Yeah.
A beautiful girl. She had a small role. A really wonderful actress.
Yeah.
That hasn't necessarily gotten kind of like a door open to really show her full talent, but she's wonderful. So I enjoyed it without the book to contrast or compare. I do appreciate this story. So it's fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I can't remember if I read them back in the day, but I might have read some of the first one and then was like, when I was reading a bunch of her stuff. So it was so many of the Vampire Chronicles that, just trying to get through those was like, wow. So, but one thing, like you all said, AMC does amazing, fantastic cinematography. And it was this show, along with Interview with the Vampire, which we should put on the list, is really, really beautiful to look at. And the characters are really, and I love to see Harry Hamlin back. I'm not sure if he's a bad guy or not. He kind of gives that kind of swarmy, villain kind of role. And I love that from him now. And to see, and Alexandria Daddario, fresh off of, her role in White Lotus, the first season, which was hilarious. It's really good to see her getting more work. So I want to see where they go with it. I think sometimes with the AMC stuff, it's a slow burn and then it kicks into gear. So I'm gonna give it a little time to see where it goes, and hopefully this will be good so they can continue the novels. I think the next novel is Lasher, about the demon, and then I don't know what the third one is, but definitely I may compare and contrast which the book and the TV series. Once that's done, I think it's The Witching Hour is the novel that it started off with. So definitely, I think we all kind of agree it's definitely not for kids. I think there's some racy stuff in here. There's talk about suicide. There's talk about demonic possession, all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of scary for the kids, but for adults, I think it's
scary for us too. Demonic possession.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely check out, if nothing else, check it out for the visuals. The Mayfair Witches. Okay, next up, my fave. I've been waiting for this to come back to see where they were gonna go with Hunters. Let's take a look.
I found something. Claimed if I let him live, I can give you something. Someone far bigger than me. Hitler.
Hitler's dead, Jonah.
Says you, the Russians?
No one believes us.
What have we done to ourselves? We get a team, and we do it ourselves.
He's an FBI agent.
An FBI.
I found something about someone I had been looking for a long time, and that person is here in Argentina.
We have reason to believe that Hitler is still alive.
Harriet. What? I know where Hitler is. I can take you to him.
No, I'm gonna go first. I loved it. The first season, amazing, mind-blowing. I didn't even know at first what I was watching and where they were going. Loved it. Second season, loved it. Maybe not as much, but I still loved it. I think the courtroom scenes were amazing and had some really interesting dialogue in it. I mean, it's kind of a fantastical kind of story, but I was with it. And it's executive produced by Jordan Peele. So, it's going to have a little quirkiness to it and some really interesting things to really consider about this. I think the interaction between Safta and Al Pacino, those were amazing. Once you understand the first season, being able to see what was happening there was really cool. And then Logan Lerman, I was like, he was like a little boy in the first one. Now he a fine ass man. He done grown up nice. So I definitely recommend Hunters. Really crazy good. I don't think there's going to be a third season. I think it's just going to be 2 seasons. But I'm with it if they're going to do a third one. So, David, what do you think of Hunters?
Well, I had not seen season 1, so I had to kind of catch up and do that and then go to season 2. It's a fascinating mix of historical accuracy, mixed in with a little bit of conspiracy theory nut job that is gory, to say the least. So, first episode of season 2, the eyes have it.
Oh, not that.
This was, again, we've got the 2 of the stars from Percy Jackson in this. I think it's so funny that we wanted to pay tribute to those movies. Really strong performances, I thought, by the young man. You love to see Pacino. I am enjoying what I've seen. I've heard a lot of those crazy rumors. A lot of Nazis did go to Argentina. Operation Paperclip brought a lot more around. For a host of reasons. And so there's it's blending with the fact and the fiction. And so it's kind of, it's neat to see great performances. Try to make sure you read history books so you don't lose what's real and what's not. And maybe what's real that we don't know. I'm just going to say that too. But this was fun. This was a fun show. I'm glad you picked this for us to look at.
So there, Patrick. What do you?
Well, I will tell you, if I want to watch alternative history, I'll watch Inglourious Bastards and have a good time with it then.
I mean, I thought this was the same kind of good time of kind of taking a different look at what could have been in history. But go ahead, tell us what you think. I think we can kind of figure it out.
Well, the first season did not do a lot for me. I mean, there's a lot of star power there. It was, I just couldn't get into it. I mean, like I said, if I want to watch fantastical history of that particular genre, I could either watch Inglourious Bastards or The Man in the High Tower, which was a great book, turned into a decent series. It wasn't great, but Inglourious Bastards is Quentin Tarantino. It's solid as hell. I mean, Brad Pitt, and I mean, if I want to watch, the kind of alternative thing, and there was, I mean, it was okay.
Yeah, I just love seeing Hitler bite it. So anyway,
watch Inglourious Bastards.
Make him have pain. I'm really good with. But the character who in the second season confused me was the attorney in the trial. I was like, why would you do this? It was just like, why? And so some really good speeches out of that, and well, not speeches, but dialogue about the nature of justice. And what do you do when confronted with evil? So definitely I think there's room to still do some interesting things with it. So I hope they continue. All right, but definitely not for the kids. So much gore, so much violence, so many heads being blown off, so much. Yeah.
It's like a Gallagher show.
It It is. So it's definitely on the adult end of it, but actually then please go read history and dig into it more and understand that the threat is still there. So I think that was one of the important messages of this, is that the threat of fascism and the rise of Nazi movements is still something they have to fight. Everybody has to fight all the time. So evil doesn't sleep. So definitely check out, it's a mixed review, but check out Hunters season 1 and 2. So awesome from me. Okay, now taking a look at Darth Vader Jr. in clone version of The Bad Batch. Let's take a peek.
Congratulations, you've been medically cleared for active duty.
What are my orders?
You're being sent in under the guise of discussing a diplomatic resolution. Once you arrive, do whatever is necessary.
What squad will I be leading?
Oh. You're not ready to play commander again. Not yet. Your new commander will brief you on the details. Problem?
No, sir.
Then you're dismissed.
All right, let's go to our resident Star Wars expert, David. What'd you think?
Well, I really enjoyed this episode that kind of removed itself from the typical story of the Bad Batch and with the kind of the lead characters in Omega. But this really was truly an extension of Clone Wars. We got to see Cody again, and seeing the personalities of it. Just like Order 66, though, there's so many Jedi that lived through Order 66. It seems like it was more like Order 64 and a half. And now you got all these clones that wound up, they obeyed it immediately. Yeah, I'm going to kill my commander that I like. I'm going to shoot him off his little dragon, said Cody. And now they're getting a conscience. It seems a little, Filoni doesn't want to leave the Clone Wars world. And I get it. He was great at extrapolating that. And it was wonderful. And as a standalone episode, this was great. But I think from I think it's really troublesome to try and continue these individual clone stories past the Clone Wars. I think from a larger Star Wars perspective, I have some trouble with that from a context. But it was great to watch. It was really fun, and again, it points to the cloud of war. Like the Separatists were the bad guys, but now they seem to be the good guys, and the clones were the good guys, and now they're clearly the bad guys, and Crosshair's a jerk. And wow, I thought it was a really neat, well thought out, fun thing with just some of the challenging plot limits that the whole clone concept gives us, that we kind of got to go back 20 years to kind of slap George around for not writing a more cogent prequel story for Dave to work with. But it was fun to see.
Yeah, what did you think?
It was a good episode. I thought it was nice to have him step away from the core group and have a field trip, as it were.
Yeah, I like that.
You bring up some good points about the Order 66. I can see him making a case that it was an immediate knee-jerk reaction when Palpatine issued Order 66 to kill your commanders, and everybody was doing that, and a couple of them broke away right away. But I would imagine, like any sort of psychological conditioning, the longer it's in effect, the less the effect is. So I can see some of these guys having questions and some regrets and what have you about having to kill their Jedi. But overall this episode was pretty solid. I mean, it was good to see Cody, and Filoni is, can't say anything about him. He really redeemed that whole whole section of the Star Wars sagas. I mean, because George
Yeah.
Lucas was pretty heavy-handed with some of the stuff, like for episode 1, terrible stuff. It was a technological exercise as much as it was a story, because he was developing, a lot, integration of animated characters with real characters. Episode 2 was great. Lots of good stuff going on there, and then terrible dialogue in episode 2 and 3. I mean, just Lucas was a visionary, and I would never say anything bad about him, but some of the stuff he did, and Filoni came through and he built really good characters and really good storylines.
Yes.
Much better than Lucas did. But he was working with the world and the universe that Lucas had created in the 70s when he did Star Wars. So, he really breathed new life into it. So I'm okay with going with wherever you want to go with this, because you're Dave Filoni. He's done some great stuff.
If they can end it early enough to where these guys aren't around for the rebellion, is my point. Have that Clone War and that early Empire, but there's got to be a cutoff for these people. To me, it's like, I mean, we're already doing Ahsoka's like past Jedi now. So there's a little bit of a, sorry, Dawson's really good in this. I don't know that I want to watch. It's taking Star Wars in different ways that I'm not happy with. But on its own, I agree with you, man. I mean, I think Filoni's done a superb job.
Yeah, we have to give this new generation of Star Wars a chance to stand on its own and kind of move somewhat away from the traditional series. And I think that with Filoni and some of the other series, they're doing a really good job. And the prequels like Andor and Mandalorian and some of these things, they're doing like really interesting, different things that I'm just going to run with it. I'm just not going to be married to where it fits in the originals timeline.
I don't think we went away from the originals. I mean, everything they've done does not preclude anything you see in the actual canonical movies, except for the last 3, which are trash. Total trash. And I said,
anyway, could build a new something that they do. They could do the new stuff there, but
what'd you say, David? I'm sorry.
Well, they could do the new movie is where they could have kind of built on. They put Star Trek for a second. They got Discovery. They put it into the future. That's where that belongs.
Yeah.
New ship, new world, new things, and it speaks to a different generation. You're kind of pigeonholing yourself into these tight little spaces
of time
with these other shows.
Yeah.
I
feel like the Outer Rim stories, like stuff that's out away from the main parts of where the traditional Star Wars took, then we don't know what was happening out there. So I think there's room to talk about in other parts of the universe what was happening. And that, I think, gives more of a fresh new perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot of
tying it into
there should be.
This is the rebellion, this is the Empire, this is what the Empire, some of that I think could work. And the love I have of the final trilogy stands firm. So, but I think this was a good episode. The reason I say Darth Vader Jr., I mean, Crosshair was always this. This is what I love about these kind of characters. People are like, oh, you weren't like this. And then they're like, yeah, I was. Y'all just didn't want to believe it. But this is me. He's hanging tough. The fact that he was 36 rotations or 32 rotations waiting for them to pick him up. I was like, man, come on now. I was thinking that might be days. And so you waited a month. Hopefully it wasn't months, 32 months before they picked him up. But I was like, you could have left and gone on and done your own thing and left it all together. But, he's a true believer. So I'm thinking that there will be a confrontation between them this and I really hope that they do not have a redemption story for him.
They're going to.
Being bad.
Yeah, I fear they will.
I'd bet a paycheck on it. They're gonna have a redemption story, or at least an attempted redemption that will end in his death or something.
Yeah.
Well,
probably. If they will redeem Ventress, they'll redeem anybody.
Oh, shoot, I haven't seen that part of the story. I haven't seen that yet. Ah, dang. I love Ventress.
It's been out for a decade.
There's a lot of episodes to get through.
Yeah, and they're all good.
I spent a lot of the pandemic trying to get through it, and I couldn't get through them all. So I can't wait to see it now. I got to see. I loved Ventress. So definitely, I think this is a really interesting episode that you could watch anytime. And so if you missed it, you won't miss the connection of the story, which I think is a smart thing to do, to have in beside the through line story, to have these episodic stories that they can use. So definitely check out the Bad Batch. Well, this week we hadn't planned on talking about it, but it was this week. I forgot all about the Golden Globes was this week. And there was some interesting stuff going on. You know, the one thing about the Golden Globes is everybody is lit, drunk, high, something. And so you get some really crazy stuff happening. But for me, the biggest winner of the night was Brad Pitt. Everybody was wanting to date being Mrs. Pitt, or some shout out to Brad Pitt, which was hilarious. But what were some of the things that you were excited about or disappointed about to see? I'm gonna try and bring up the list of the winners. Pat, talk about your reaction to the Golden Globes. Big precursor to the Oscars.
Okay, well, first off, I have a few issues, a few bones to pick with the foreign press secretary or whatever the hell it is. Okay, how in the name of all that is holy,
not holy,
did we decide that a drama TV series, the best was House of Dragons? At best, it was third or fourth even of the ones that were nominated. We had Better Call Saul, which was arguably one of the best shows I've seen in a couple years. We had Severance, which was unique and innovative and incredibly well done. Had comedic actors playing against type, wonderful, and it was really just innovative. Then we had Ozark, which it was more of the same, but great actors, great storytelling, wonderful stuff. Then you had House of Dragons, The Crown again, kind of. They were good, but I don't think they were anywhere near as good as Better Call Saul and Severance. Big problem with that. Again, I understand why they kind of picked Austin Butler for actor in a drama because Brendan Fraser wouldn't show up there, because I went and saw The Whale last weekend, and I will tell you, it was the three B's is what I called it. I called it brutal, beautiful, and what was the other one? But it was just incredible. It was a tour de force, and Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Welcome back, because my God, that was a great movie. It was so good. But I know he doesn't go there because their president. I get that. There's some of these things that were that I haven't seen, so I can't comment. But I will say that I did see a glaring omission from all these. Either I think they would call it a comedy or a dramedy. Reservation Dogs is still one of the best shows on TV. So good. Total snub to leave them out and put some of this other tripe in here, I don't know. I'm just not impressed with some of these choices that they made just for nominees. And I get some of it, the way they do it, it's I don't know how they come up with these ideas, but there was just a few things that, some of them I really agreed with. Quentin Brunson from Abbott Elementary, she's really wonderful. Some of the actual nominees are just like, really? And an actor How is Kevin Costner better than Bob Odenkirk? Totally.
I mean,
got robbed. Adam Scott from Severance. No, don't. I mean, Kevin Costner. If you've seen Yellowstone,
I've seen Yellowstone. I think it's great.
It's not the acting job of Better Call Saul. It was definitely not the acting job of Adam Scott in Severance. But or Diego Luna from Andor was up, and Kevin Costner was better than that. No, you can't convince me, and I'm not going to buy that. I'm not even going to try to buy that.
No show on TV was better than Andor this year.
I mean, it was amazing.
I think there are some that were better, but
I really don't. I don't watch as much TV as you guys do, which hurts my self-admitted credibility as a critic on this show. But I do think Andor, for its seriousness and I just think it knocked it out of the park.
But you have to look at the other things too. When you see them all together, I think it was a strong category. And I don't know if he's won before Kevin Costner, but sometimes it's just this time people's view.
Well, you know what?
It's politics too. So
there's lots of quarterbacks that go to the Super Bowl that never win. You made it to the Super Bowl though, but you didn't win. I'm sorry you didn't win. You weren't the best player that day.
Okay.
Kevin Costner was not the best player.
Yeah. Sometimes,
Well, Kevin Costner is a Buffalo Bill. That's what we're saying.
Oh Lord.
I tell you what,
I thought that the one that was robbed it should have been, I don't know how they didn't, but RRR should have won for Best International Film. I don't care. That one was amazing and fun, and I will watch it again and again to see Ray Stevenson jump up out of the car and grab his gun and shoot. And the scene where all the animals are coming in, the cinematography alone should have won for everything, because that was fun. And what is his name? The young man who was in Jeremy Allen White in The Bear. Now that one was a solid win, because that show, if you haven't watched The Bear, go watch it.
How is that a comedy though?
That was I have left myself off on that one.
That was a mischaracterization of anything. It was a total mischaracterization.
I thought it was great.
It was great, but it wasn't a comedy.
Although for that to beat out Atlanta, what's his name? Donald Glover. Atlanta this season, one of the best shows of the year. Hands down, it was incredible. Way to send out a series. The whole cast was amazing. So that snub kind of was the one I was like, I wish they would have recognized it. But I also want to talk about Gerard Carmichael as the host. Did you see the opening monologue? I saw it, but I was kind of like, I guess I was done with him when his show, they start talking about slavery was good for Black people. And I was like, what the F? And
Kanye?
I was like, I don't like this guy. And
in what context was that horrible statement made?
That's why I didn't watch the show. His uncle was saying, it was part of this whole we did better when it was just so irresponsible and stupid, and something that I was like, what the heck are you saying? This is real ignorant. And so I definitely haven't liked him since then. And and then this one, his monologue, which was true, but I was like, well, why'd you take the gig? I mean, if you're going to trash the organization in your speech, it's kind of like, well, you shouldn't be up in there anyway. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of disingenuous. So I just kind of was like, this guy. But I think it was fun. There were some poignant moments. Angela Bassett winning for Wakanda Forever. I still haven't seen it, so don't tell me. I know. But definitely, I think this is a precursor to what's coming up for the Oscars and the Banshees of Inisherin. I think that's something we're gonna have to put on the schedule because I think that's
good.
going to definitely be on.
Have you guys seen it yet?
On the
I
list.
have not.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's interesting. Well, I was really happy to see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
Because oh my God, that movie was so incredible.
Yes.
That was it's still as a big Marvel nerd, this was definitely the best multiverse movie they made last year.
It is.
Yeah,
and
that one
I was really happy to see Short Round.
Oh, yes.
I
didn't even realize that was him.
I didn't either when I watched the movie.
Goonies and Short Round.
Thanks, Steven Spielberg. And where the hell has Steven Spielberg been all these years? We could have given him some more work. We could have given him some more work, man. Don't think a guy that blows you off. But it was great to see a guy who I have his action figure win an award at one of these things. That was cool.
Yeah.
Most poignant moment afterwards, really powerful, was the loss of Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh my gosh.
After the young man thanks her and everything, doing the Elvis thing, I think there was I'm not trying to point a finger, but I think there was a lot of emotion and stress, and that I think this biopic, which was done a little differently than say the Kurt Russell version from the 70s.
Yeah.
It was a very poignant thing, and it's like been a crazy week with her loss.
Yeah.
Her passing with that, and the timing is very powerful, very moving.
It was very sad. I mean, it was just like, wait a minute, she's our age. I was like, wait a minute, I was like,
our age die, Pam. I hate to say that, but yeah.
I was like, no. When I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, she was just under the Golden Globes, and then I was like, oh no, she's gone. And I thought it was interesting. She passed away at 54. Michael Jackson passed away at 54, I believe. And then I remember them. Huh?
Is that a coincidence?
Yeah, I just think it's kind of. And then
a conspiracy on us this week, Pam. What the heck?
But Nicolas Cage is still alive.
You know, Keith Richards is still alive. I mean,
how about that?
I don't even know how that happens. So that one was
power of genetics. Live the life you want to live. It's all predestined.
Okay.
You're gonna die when you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Because that man's liver should have died 35 years ago.
I mean, like 35 times. I mean, how many times has this guy had? But apparently he's here for a reason. So, but that's very sad that she passes away, and we wish her family, peace, and it's very tough. Her daughter Riley Keough is a brilliant young actress. I love seeing her and stuff. So definitely next up, I think it's the SAG Awards. And so I'm looking forward to see that. And I think, is it this month, later on this month, or maybe sometime next month when the Oscar nominations will come out. So I'm looking forward to that. So definitely if you haven't had a chance, go back and look at some of the speeches from the Golden Globes. Some of them are hilarious. But next week we will be back talking about Bad Batch, and also Wednesday we're gonna cover that, which is the story of Addams Family's daughter Wednesday, and Kaleidoscope on Netflix, which is a really interesting heist movie, which Netflix has given us ways to watch it multiple different ways. So definitely what we'll do next week is we'll let you know what the order was that Netflix recommended, or what order each person gave, each person watched the series. So it'll be an interesting discussion, because that is a very interesting show, and we look forward to seeing you back next week. David, say goodnight to the people.
Good night, everybody. Stay warm. Have a wonderful week and have some fun watching things that will make you laugh, make you cry a little bit, and also make you think. See you next week.
Hey, and Patrick, say goodnight to the people.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe and have a great week till we see you next week.
Yeah, and definitely come back, check it out with us, chop it up, and we'll see you next time. Also, check out our mini trailer reviews that we'll be releasing weekly. So we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.